Hello, this is Kevin Shaw with Midtown Transplant Foundation, Manager of Family Care, back with another edition of Ask A, where we get to talk to people that work here at Mid-South Transplant Foundation and find out exactly what they do to try to help people in the community to give life and give hope. And today we are speaking to a member of the Community Outreach Department. Her name is Melody Ramsey. Hello, Melody.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. So, Melody, it shows that on the screen it says you're a volunteer coordinator. Before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, actually, my background is in journalism and mass communication, and I spent nearly 20 years in marketing with a manufacturing organization. So it's definitely different from what I'm doing now.
Did you grow up in the Memphis area, or are you from another part of the country?
Arkansas. So another part of the country.
Okay. And so what brought you to Mid-South Transplant?
Well, you know, I had been with my previous job, which I liked very much for many years, and I just decided that it was time to do something different in my career, and I wanted to make a difference. And this opportunity opened up, so it was a wonderful fit for me.
So I would like to ask, I guess a two-part question, if you don't mind. It says, you know, I know that you work in the Community Outreach Department, and then you're also the volunteer coordinator. So could you first talk a little bit about what is the Community Outreach Department with Mid-South Transplant, and why do we need a Community Outreach Department?
Well, our Community Outreach Department, as the name would indicate, we work with the community. We try to educate the community in a number of ways. We want to make sure that they know how important donation is to saving lives and improving lives throughout not only this community but everywhere. So education is a large part of what community outreach does.
Now, when you say the community, how far does that community reach out to?
Well, our community includes a little over 2 million people. We have 6 counties in Arkansas, 11 in Tennessee, and 19 in Mississippi.
Wow. And so what ways do you all usually go about as far as trying to reach everyone?
Well, there are just a number of ways. Certainly, we reach out digitally. We have a Facebook page and Twitter and Pinterest and YouTube, and we go out into the community, and that is a big part of what our ambassador program does, reaching out into the community. There are, I believe, 5 of us in community outreach, and clearly that touching 2 million individual lives through with 5 people would be really difficult. So what we have is an ambassador program, and most of those people have a connection to transplant, and they are the face of Mid-South Transplant Foundation in our communities. They educate the public, they encourage donation, they register donors. They're just Mid-South Transplant multiplied.
So is the main goal to get people to actually register, for example, when they get their driver's license, or are there other high reaching goals that you have?
Well, certainly registration through the driver's license program is the biggest way that people do register to become donors. However, we also encourage registration on our website, midsouth-transplant.org. If you go there, you can register for Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, and we certainly encourage people to do that. But probably the driver's license program is the most common way that people do become registered donors.
Well, when it comes to education in the community, are there common misunderstandings or myths about donation that you all have to work on a regular basis to try to overcome or re-educate on?
Yes, there are a lot of very common misunderstandings about donation. One of them is that people believe if you're a certain age, you're too old to be a donor, and we know this is not true. People worry that their religion is opposed to donation, and that's not true. People are concerned about, if I go into the emergency room, the doctors know I'm a registered donor, they're just not going to work as hard. And that is not true.
Okay. So let's get more specific about what you do exactly as far as a volunteer coordinator. What does that entail?
Well, what I do is I recruit, train, and then manage our volunteers, and that involves a lot of scheduling for events. Normally in a non-COVID time period, we would be working health fairs and speaking engagements and presenting in driving schools and that sort of thing. So, but we we're having to approach it a little differently now. We are looking at ways to get the message out digitally instead of in person, because, obviously we can't be in the community in person right now. So, so means like this, like Facebook, this is how we are reaching out to share the message of donation.
Now, I don't get to spend a lot of time interacting with the volunteers, but it seems a lot of the volunteers are either recipients themselves or even family members of recipients or donors. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. Many of our volunteers are recipients. They are donor family members. They may be on the waiting list. They are people that are touched personally by donation. Now, certainly that does not have to be the case. We welcome anybody with a passion for donation to join our ambassador family. So you do not have to have a personal connection, but as it turns out, a lot of people do. There are so many wonderful, brave individuals who work in our ambassador program. We have, imagine, that you are a donor family member, how the painful process that you have been through, losing a loved one, and yet you want to share the message of donation. I think that is pretty amazing. So we have recipients who are so grateful to have a second chance at lives, and we have donor family members whose family members made those second chances possible. So we have an incredible team of people.
So as far as being a volunteer, do you have certain requirements? For example, is there a minimum or a maximum age requirement or any other specific requirements required to volunteer?
Well, really what you need is a passion for donation. That's the most important criterion, that you have a passion for donation. We have college age volunteers. We have high school age volunteers. We have, on up the scale.
So if someone's interested in volunteering, the best thing to do would be what?
The best thing to do would be to reach out to me, and I can be contacted at mramsey@midsouthdonor.org.
So you've been here, I think has it been a year now?
Yeah, it was a year in late September, I think.
So, not to put you on the spot, so what have you enjoyed so far about being with Mid-South Transplant in the past year?
Well, I would say that everyone I have met here is so very committed to the mission. They are so passionate about donation. They care so much about the individuals, and that really shows.
Well, thank you, Melody, for taking some time to speak with us today. I want to remind everyone out there to please share, like, or comment on this video. We will have more in the weeks to come. And we do ask that you stay tuned, because right after this video, we actually have another member of the Community Outreach Department that's going to tell you a little bit more about Mid-South Transplant Foundation and other ways that we continue to give life and give hope to the community. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Zola Burgess, Mid-South Transplant Foundation. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator. My role is to speak with the public about the miracles of organ and tissue transplants. After your loved one has transitioned, this is an opportunity that they can have to be a hero. Organ donation helps people that are on dialysis with the kidney transplants, and it does help a person in heart failure. It helps a person who has difficulty breathing so we can provide lungs. It even helps a diabetic, one that's on insulin, and it has really gotten them to a state where they're not able to do without the insulin. So therefore, we transplant. Even in the tissue role, we help out with the patients who possibly had a chance to get a leg or bone. So we help that amputee, giving them another walk again. When organ transplants and tissue donation takes place, we are very passionate about that. And even I have been in this profession for about 33 years. And I too experienced something with organ donation. My sister, my oldest sister Vera, she went into organ failure and she needed a heart transplant. It was so difficult for me to just see her, knowing how difficult it is to receive organs here in this South. So therefore, she had to go on the transplant list. In 2011, Vera received that gift of life. That restored our family. It restored her back to who she is. And it also gave her the opportunity to see her 3 grandboys being born. So therefore, organ donation renews family.